listen to somebody tell Islam, Islam, Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We're going to turn to the east is going within. Turn to the east is going within. Put up 5 fingers on the left with 2 on the right, heels with our heels touching one another. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam. 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 I'm so grateful. I want to first rise and give the most highest praises to our Father God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I also want to rise and give the highest praises to the Mother Allah, the Mother of the virtues, and the harmonies of life that brings justice, mercy, love, and right. I want to rise and give honors, high honors, to our illustrious and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who this picture that you see behind me. I want to give honors to the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, as I affectionately love to call it, because that's what it really is if you follow these instructions. It's based off of the instructions and your actions and being obedient to what he's brought. So, in bringing this information to us, we must give honors to that. I want to rise and give honors to all the illustrious prophets, for all of the prophets, for all the wonderful works that they brought into us. Giving honors to our prophet's forerunner, who was like John was to Jesus, and that's our brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey Bay, Islam. I love giving him his Moorish attributes because he did a lot in preparing the way for our prophet to come with this message of love, with this message of divinity, of just so much that he brought in this text, Islam. So we have to give honor to him for paving the way, just like John paved the way for Jesus. John was the forerunner to Jesus. He came before Jesus to prepare the people to meet their coming king. So that's why we even give honors to all of the prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius. We honor all of them because they brought a message to save their people from out of the wrath of whoever was taking control at that time. And that's still going on today as we look across the world, as we even see here in North America, that this still happens. So this is why these lessons are important. This is why you see people come on and demonstrate these things, not in a vain way, but so that everyone will be able to know that this message of love that was brought by a holy and divine prophet was brought for the benefit of the people over here that were suffering from under the iron hand oppression of someone at that time, whether it be the colonizer, the heathen, whoever it was. We were being occupied at the time. So at these times, we needed a prophet that could come and teach us the lessons and show us the way, because we weren't listening. This is why prophets come. You have to understand they come for these reasons, because a lot of people won't believe in the spirit and they don't believe in certain energies that move upon this earth plane that help us to navigate. If they don't see it, they don't believe it. So in order for people to know that this is real, this is why prophets come, and this is why they go. They come all the time. The energy is always there. The spirit never dies. That's why so many people will look for the body and never really understanding it's the spirit that you must be connected to even be able to identify a prophet, to identify the coming kings that come to save us from under the iron hand oppression, where the mental slavery is still on our brains. It's still there. We're still mentally enslaved as a people. So I want to give honors to Prophet Noble Drawley, the founder, and all the other spirits that came after that that have been guiding us through this great drama that we go through. So giving honors to all of that, giving honors to each and every one of you also. Islam. So now I would like to do the recitation for our laws. Islam. These laws are important because it's a way for us to really, for one, it's a way to stay organized. This is why we read these laws also, because this is an organization and we have to stay organized in one way or another, no matter what. Even in your life, you're organizing your own life. So the organization of your life is important. So to have a constitution and to have principles and morals and customs that you base in your life is important. Islam. So that's why we read these laws. Salvation, Allah, Unity, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution, and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Islam.
Islam.
For the additional laws for Moorish Americans by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer that violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the prophet or the grand sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their ADAT meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second case will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, he must subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire, and let every member exercise his five senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people, which is each and every one of you out there, our people, their nationality, and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and
Mm.
know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful way. His people is us, Islam.
Islam.
The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites the who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. We're still on those shores, y'all. That hasn't went anywhere. That still remains the same today. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God, Allah. Islam.
Islam.
So we give honor to those words because those, when it says act, this is a character building organization type of thing. So the acts are how you should act. That's why even in the Constitution of this said government, the Constitution of America, it's acts because everything is based on your character. Everything is to build up character. So
Mm-hmm.
through this organization, it's about character building. It's not about being, honestly, it's not about being vain. It's not about doing any of these things. It's not about this selfish gain thing that a lot of people want to show up and do based off of what they feel fits their life. And as further examination, especially, being able to build with Sister Shonda quite often. And she's someone that has studied a lot of different texts. So it's bringing a lot of things together for me because she's being patient enough and we're listening and hearing each other enough to go and say, ooh, let me go and research that. Let me look that up. So it makes our
Mm-hmm.
conversations even more
Yeah.
in, but not even that it makes our conversations more in depth, but that we're really learning ourselves even through this and even checking ourselves quite often to be like, hold up, am I
Yeah.
doing this? Let me make sure this is not how I'm showing up. Because one thing I know I don't want to do Islam, Sister Shar, Islam. Happy Sunday school. One thing I know I don't want to do is ever show up and making Allah look foolish or making myself in that way look foolish because I have to understand me and Allah are one. So everything I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking and walking, I have to understand that's a part of who I am. It's within me. So never to do this from a vain standpoint, but that's
Mm-hmm.
why we chose the topic we chose today. Islam.
Yes.
Islam. So, it's a good topic. This is, it's coming out of Ecclesiastes. So we're coming out biblically and from the Quran because Sister Shonda, based on Friday Holy Day, where me, you, and Sister Rashira were building off of
Mm-hmm.
those different chapters. Islam,
Yes.
Sister Shonda.
Islam.
We were building off of those different chapters. And you were like, "Ooh, these chapters remind me of Ecclesiastics." You were
Mm-hmm.
like saying where you were seeing those chapters were coming into correlation biblically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I went into Ecclesiastics and started reading it. And boy, when I tell y'all, oh my goodness, it was so meaty and so
Mm-hmm.
that I see why the prophet said, "Do not throw your Bibles away. You better make sure
Right.
you have them because when you're able to find the truth in it, because man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. So when you're able to dig out the truth, because the prophet brought it for you, he brought it for you,
Mm-hmm.
and he unfolded it. As I said, he gently unfolded it because he knew we needed to be gently unfolded. This is not something that you can just gravitate to and grab it all at one time and think you got it. Like this is a gentle unfoldment, as does a bud unfolds from a flower. It gently unfolds. It don't just say papa. It just like gently is like can. It's taking
Exactly.
its time to do what it needs to do. So in the love that Allah and in the love the prophet, because he divinely prepared this holy Quran circle 7, divinely prepared it for us so it can be a gentle unfoldment onto our minds of coming out of mental slavery and coming into ourselves so that we can really start seeing Allah within us. Islam.
Islam.
Shonda, do you want to get started on the to demonstrate from Ecclesiastics or how you want to do this? It's up to you.
Um.
Or I can, it's up to you. And Sister Shaw, I want you to come on if you can. Let me see if I can send you the thing.
Okay. Now I love the whole book, but I don't know where you wanted to go, sister. You could start, but I wanted to where
Okay.
the thing with me that I love about Ecclesiastes, the whole book, but the end, um, encapsulate the whole thing for me, where it says, "Mine is titled The Duty of Man," in chapter 12, verse 13
Mm-hmm.
and 14.
Mm-hmm.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, fear Allah, and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. I just wanted to read that just to set the stage of what we're about to discuss here when it comes to these wise words in the Holy Quran and Ecclesiastics when it comes to purpose and getting lost in vanity and making sure the things that we're doing is actually Allah serving and not self serving. It was a
Mhm.
lot of conviction in this book for me. Like, goodness, like to constantly be aware and self check that what really is my heart's motivation. Um,
Mhm.
oh, that's go ahead, sis.
No, no, keep going. I'm listening. I'm vibing. Let's go. No, I'm just Islamic. I'm just Islamic because I'm agreeing. You can keep going.
And it's like when you look at the book Ecclesiastics and then all the chapters, we basically the misery of man, the constancy of man. Where else were we at? I was taking notes in this
Instability. We
book.
were in
The
misery,
stability,
instability,
all
weakness.
these, yes. And it just all seemed to be anchored, all those lower vibrations that we wrestle with, all seem to be anchored to the passions and self serving things we do. And a lot of these things that we do, we don't even know is self serving. And but this word really got us together. I think it got me together. Like, oh my goodness. So Solomon wrote or is attributed for writing the books of Ecclesiastics, and I think that's important to know because he really was denied nothing on the earth. All the fruits of the earth he was able to indulge in. He had plenty of women, he had plenty of money, he had plenty of land, vineyards, food. Nothing that this man wanted was outside of his reach, but he still found himself at the same search that we all have, and that is to get close to Allah, get close to God, as the scriptures call him in the Bible, just says God.
Mhm.
So, what really is life about then? What is vanity and what is really fulfilling was the questions that
Mhm.
I had after going through these texts.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so I know there was a few, like in chapter 2 of Ecclesiastics, right? The
Mm-hmm.
first one it said, I said in my heart,
Mm,
go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. That's amusement. Therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this also is vanity. So as I was reading through this, I kept saying everything they were saying was everything is vanity, like everything.
everything.
I
Mm-hmm.
said of laughter, it is mad, and of mirth, what does it? I sought in my heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom,
Mm,
and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life.
mm-hmm.
I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. You see, it's the me thing. It's the this. It was the self gratification thing for me in this, like the
Mm-hmm.
everything that I'm doing. It's the bragging and the. That's what I was kind of. I was like, oh dang.
Mm-hmm.
Even through all,
Yes.
at the end, he was like, all that's vanity. The preacher still says all that's vanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, even in 3 was really strong. The first one in 3. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. It says in the second one, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to
Mm-hmm.
get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away. It's a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silence, a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth?
Mm-mm-mm. What profit? What do you gain? Hath he that worketh and where he laboreth.
Because remember, he said we can't have every all good. Ain't no all good. Ain't, you know, because even in the bosom of the fool, the soul is perfect. Even in the bosom of a fool.
Mm-hmm. And it's and the God had the 11th verse of that same chapter says he hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he have set the world in their hearts so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. But it was that opening line. He made everything beautiful. So no matter how we look at it, it has Allah in it, it has God in it, everything has the essence.
Islam. It does. Yes. Yes. Islam. So, yes, you know, we do think we look at things with amusement too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't, you know, mirth. When I first looked at it, I looked at it as mirth. I was like, that is not what that says. So I had to go
Right.
and look it up to see what the definition of it was, and to see that it was amusement and be like, wow, okay. Um,
Mm.
Sister Shar, would you like to chime in at any moment to say something or bring a measure for a moment before I go on to 7? I want to go into chapter 7 of Ecclesiastes and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
That one was strong for me too.
Islam.
Okay.
I just
Islam
wanted to say good morning. It's a wonderful topic. So I'm going to sit out and listen because I don't know everything. And this is very interesting.
Islam. All right. We don't either, but we
Mm.
work together. We gonna work
Peace and
together.
love.
Peace and love, love. Okay, so in chapter 7 of Ecclesiastes, verse 1, it says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. You remember we talked about it's like when we bring life into the world, we're not
Mm.
honored for that. You know what I'm saying? It's more honor to
Right.
bring a life than it is to bring a life in. But then they say
Yeah.
celebrate when someone transitions onto the next plane. But see, they
Mm.
are going into the next plane. So, you know,
Right.
it's like, but a good name is better than precious ointment. To me, no.
Mm.
To me, precious ointment is better. I need that because if it can heal my wounds or help my hair grow where it's not stimulated, I need that precious ointment. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That
Yes. That
wisdom,
was a good one right there. Mm.
give me that. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For
Ooh.
that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Doesn't he mix sorrow and joy in one of these chapters? He talks about sorrow and
Mm.
joy being
They hold hands.
yes, really they're the same, like they're one and the same pretty much, you know. Here it is. Wait. Okay, in chapter Islam, the divine instructions from the holy prophet and constancy. Where does he talk about sorrow? Yeah, cause for sorrow or reason for laughter or reason for sorrow that follows me. Where is that one at? Is it in this one? Well, that gives some reference to sorrow. Let me see. I have to see where that is. Sister Shire, if you can help me or point me to that. See, that's why you on here too, because I know you be knowing these lessons too. Sometimes I can't just go quickly to it and be like, oh yeah, it's in this chapter. He talks about them being like in its like they're kind of their same. Here it is, Islam, my fault. Holy Instructions, chapter 42, in weakness, verse
Mm.
14, 15. As joy is not without its alloy of pain, so neither is sorrow without its portion of pleasure. Joy and grief, though unalike, are united. Our own choice only can give them to us entirely.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. That's selling us basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. The heart of the wise, so I'm back in Ecclesiastic number 4. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth, of amusement, excitement, entertainment.
Yes. But the heart of the fool, because they're celebrating. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Heart of the wise is in the house of mourning.
So in here, it even talks about, ooh, you talked about it. If you have something to say on that while I go into, because there's a part where it's talking about how the poor man is never looked at as being, the one that's bringing. Even the poor man could be the wise man, but he's never being looked at as the wise man because he's not dressed up enough to be one.
I feel like I was just looking at something like that in Ecclesiastes too.
Islam.
Uh huh.
That reminded me of chapter 44. These we were studying the characteristics of the lower self,
Mhm.
and it reminded me of that divine instruction in chapter 44, misery. I believe it's 11, if I'm not mistaken, where it mentions sorrow.
Mhm. Islam.
Um,
You want me to read that one? You got it. You want me to read it?
yeah.
Okay. Islam. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 44, misery. You said verse 11. The greatest of all human ills is sorrow. Too much of
Um,
it thou art born unto, and not unto it by thy own perverseness.
Mm-hmm.
that kind of takes away from us as individuals because we know that we come here pure. We never had malice in our heart as we enter the world. However, we know that after we fell, all of these things started happening to us as evolution, as the process started continuing. And of course, carnality showed up, and we unfortunately uh, wanted more of the pleasure than staying divine, I would say. But that sorrow right there is something that we were studying as one of the many characteristics of the lower self. So when you see something like that show up, you want to be mindful of, just taking it back, taking that time to, okay, what am I experiencing? Why am I feeling this way? And how can I resolve that thought, given that thought is the cause of it all? I just thought that was so beautiful how you guys put that. I don't even know what book you guys are reading from. You guys need to share that with me.
Ecclesiastics in the
Is that?
Bible.
Wow. I don't even
Mm,
Ecclesiastes.
think I've ever read a Bible.
Wow, really? Yes.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't brought up in the church or anything like that. The first spiritual realm for me was More Science Temple of America. That's the only thing that actually made sense to me. Um,
Mm,
as far as know thyself and thy father God Allah.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Um, but that is beautiful. I'm gonna have to get one so I can chime in. Thank you,
Yes.
ladies.
Because the prophet told us to not to throw our Bibles away, because
Mm-hmm.
even though man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed, and it's, believe me, truth and falsehood is strangely mixed within these texts, but when you know the truth, you can find it and you can see it. That's why I would say my teacher from the Holy Temple of Science always tells me, if I'm gonna pick something up and read it, if I don't see the prophet in it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's wording, whether it gives me that energy that I
Mm-hmm.
get when I pick up my Holy Quran, to put it down, to not even allow it to throw confusion in my
Yeah.
mind, allow it
Yes.
to bed into me. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that much, but also being someone that grew up Seventh-day Adventist. So I grew up very church. The Bible was always in the house. My mom, my grandmother, my auntie, my grandmother wasn't here, but even my grandmother on my father's side, she was Baptist. So whether I was with my mom and went to church on Saturday, and in the summertime I'm with my grandma in Pueblo and I'm going to church on Sunday, I'm in church. So the Bible was a big part. I had Sabbath school when I went, so Sabbath school, all the characters on the felt board looked like me and you. So
Praise
yeah,
Allah.
I older, I go to my grandma and be like, well, why the felt people the other color? Because when I go to church with my mom, they look like me. But when I'm on Sunday school, they don't look like me. So you can only imagine because my grandmother that was Baptist did have that picture by the front door with the footprint. So that's what my envision of what that was. I didn't know. So I can truly understand it. But then when Sister Shonda, because she has studied a lot of the different texts, when she brought it, I was like, man, Ecclesiastes. She was like, Solomon, King Solomon. I was like, oh man. And just the different way she was breaking certain things down made me go back to it and say, wow, the prophet, he was so intentional. Like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, so very intentional on how he placed this. He divinely prepared this text for us because he didn't want us to get confused, but he still had to lay it out to us where we just weren't gonna catch it right then and there. Because you gotta save
Mhm.
yourself. Saving yourself is a major work.
Ooh,
Oh, it's not something just
amazing.
like I got the information, I've saved myself. No,
No, this is a forever journey.
a forever journey. Islam, Sister Isha, Islam. So it's all right, Sister Shar. We come from different backgrounds, but this is why it's important that we build with each other. This is why unity is so important. All the discord and chaos and division and betrayal in the back, that is not good because all this in Ecclesiastic is all that. And
Oh
all of that
yes.
is vanity. It's all vanity. It's it tells you in this book, it's all man. I don't care how good you want to dress it up, how you want to make it seem. It's vanity. Islam.
Mm-mm.
So
Yes, wrong.
Islam. I
when
agree.
what'd you say now? Go here.
I say you're absolutely right. All of those things like really make you reflect on those carnal characteristics of the lower self. So we
Hmm.
working.
We are, but we still got to get the kinks out of us too, and we still need to see where it's all coming from. Because if we don't recognize it, or someone doesn't show it to us, we're gonna walk around here like we don't know no better. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
so it has to be somewhere. It's there. We just got to go a little deeper than being like the farmer that he was digging in a scanty way. We can't
Mm.
be like that. We got to be like the toiler, the man that tiller of the soil, the one that goes deeper underneath that
Islam.
soil of the mind and goes deeper to find out what this is really about. And I always feel like women, we're a little more of the Inspector Gadgets of the world. You know what I'm saying? We can find
Mhm.
most people can't find. We can find to a back to an earring. A brother can't find. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
say male or female, but most brothers can't find a back to an earring. But our eye can
I
spot.
see that.
Beloved, half
Mhm.
of the
I
time they
like,
need assistance from us, and that's
yeah,
real.
they need us. We need each other. We need it. You didn't see
We
that.
need
We
each
need
other.
each other.
Islam.
Islam. This is what this whole thing
Mhm.
about this vanity thing. Like, stop thinking it's just you and it's just only about you. And come on, man, we need each other in every aspect.
Yes.
Islam. So in
Yes. Yes.
chapter
Yes.
chapter 9 of Ecclesiastes, verse 11 through 13, it says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor
Mhm.
the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor of men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all.
Mhm.
For man
Mhm.
also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. That still sound like the circle? That sound like this Holy Quran. I'm like, whoa.
Oh yes, definitely, 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 sis. Mm-mm-mm.
13. This wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemed great unto me.
Yes.
Islam. Mm,
Islam. Mm-mm-mm. For man, no, that verse right there. For man knoweth not his time. And then I was looking, as you were reading it, the fishes that are taken in the evil net. Notice it's like we look at a net as a good thing because it's catching food for us, but to the fish, it's an evil thing because we're interrupted. It just shows how perception on these things that we do matter. And neither yet bread to the why, where was it? Or was that was 12. And
mhm.
as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of man snared in an evil time. And it just made me think about what you were just saying. Like, it's no getting this truth and then we're saved. Like, we're living in a time where this has to be a constant awareness to avoid these snares. Because he just gave us the analogy of things getting caught up by things that might not necessarily be trying to be predatorial, but to that thing, it is a predator. It is a predator because it can throw you off of your natural course. Those fish were going somewhere, and those birds were going somewhere before they got caught up in the snare. So to me, it was just speaking to the traps or the snares that can get in our way as we make in our daily journeys. Where we start off with I think everybody mostly starts their days off with great intent, but then as we go out alone today and then you're dealing with your children, your husbands, your jobs, your wives, whatever it is when we run into these things that throw us off and knock us to that lower self or into that vanity. And we got to just say, we need to be aware of those things so that we don't fall into them.
Islam.
Islam. Uh-huh.
The prophet put it so beautifully. It's like you guys are reading, and I'm finding all of these instructions in the Holy Quran. I'm like,
Islam.
Lord,
Mm-hmm.
is this
Islam. That's what
thinking correctly? So Allah knew and divinely prepared this amazing human being to
I'm.
come and bring us the truth, which would sound like something that would be closer to what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because truth is but one. It just has to
Islam.
be something that resonates with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was looking into the chapter weakness as the sister is speaking. She's like she's reading the exact same thing
Mm-hmm.
on chapter 42 weakness.
Uh-huh.
And it just tells you how we shouldn't hold on to that. What it says, is there anything in which thy weakness appeareth more than the desiring of things? Like this is part of
Mm.
all of that vanity. What do we really want out of life?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
is good enough to sustain you? And it's
Mm.
not
Yeah.
physical and it's not material. It's
Um,
spiritual.
Islam. Yes.
Islam.
So he's
Uh,
saying it is in the possessing and in the using of them. Good things cease to be good in
mm-hmm.
our enjoyment of them. Like, yeah, praise Allah for feeling that joy. However, none
Yes.
of it is for the cost of feeling that joy.
Mm-hmm.
The joy
Mhm.
ultimately is in pleasing Allah.
Islam. Yes.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on now. Islam. Islam. Ooh.
She said,
Okay. So, uh, in 14, there was a little city a few men,
Mm-hmm.
and there came a great king against it, and besieged it, and built great bulwarks against it. Now, 15. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man remembered that same poor man. Remember, I was saying they don't remember the poor one. They only
Mm-hmm.
gonna remember anything else. So we can look at. I want to talk about this right now based on what we're seeing, and it's not to bring this in it, but we have to even see the mentality of our people when we're
Mm-hmm.
saying, this good and enjoyment. We cease to be good in our enjoyment of it, and our minds be all over the place. We can
mm-hmm.
look at the state of the people now and see
Mm-hmm.
They're mad because they're going to take away the Department of Education from the federal level and give it back to
Mm-hmm.
the state.
Right.
Now I keep seeing people be mad. You want to first, 1 minute you're mad because of this. The
Mm-hmm.
next minute in return, then you're saying that you want to have more control over this, and like they can't be satisfied for less. Can't be
Mhm.
satisfied for none. Okay, so we take it away. So then that means that puts more pressure and more responsibility and accountability on the parents because now that the state has it, bam, now you got to be accountable. When
Mm-hmm.
Islam. Come on, sis.
Islam.
when they made No Child Left Behind, guess what? I raised 4 sons. They left every last one of them behind.
Honey.
Federal
Mm-hmm.
level, it was never for my children. If it was for my children on a federal level, it was to send them through the prison to pipeline situation, find out what their test grades are, their test scores are in the fourth grade. Because from Asiatic boys to brown boys, this is how we're going to know how many prison cells to build. Because if they can't pass a fourth grade test, aptitude test, they're not going to make it. This is the way
Mm-hmm.
they. So when they said take it down, yeah, take it down. It shouldn't be there
Yes,
because
yes, it should be on.
we take more accountability of how our children are learning, then we can teach them from our way. We
Mm-hmm.
back the culture and the customs that belong to our children. See, we've allowed everybody else to give them the customs and culture. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good because you want to send them to the babysitter instead of being home and allow yourself to be the one that's training them up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Not the truth.
Islam.
I had to bring that out because it's like we do that, but you don't remember that these poor wise people were telling you this long ago, like years ago. Get your children when the thing happened in 2020, the homeschool thing popped off. These are signs and symbols. Stop looking at them.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Look at them because it tells you it's a time for war, it's a time for this, it's a time for that. But how are you gonna respond to it?
Oh yeah.
You're
Right.
not you're not gonna be able to get out of this by whining and crying. You're not.
And it's perspective. It's like we're not seeing the blessings as for what they are, which is what this text is talking about. You know,
Islam, sis. Yes,
yeah, we
ma'am.
find the things of man, we find blessings, and the things of Allah, we're calling them cursed. Like our children are being turned back over to us, and we're crying about it.
Exactly.
And that's really like this is good. This is good, good, good. Um, but yeah, I like you. Did you stop at 15, sis?
I stopped at 15. I was gonna go to 16, but if you want to go
Yeah,
ahead,
okay. No, go ahead, because I love this whole one. I was waiting for you to get here. Like, 'cause when you said food, I was scanning and finding it, and then I found it, and then you were already there. So I'm just, because this is just it right here. So go ahead.
it's long. It's long. In 16 of Ecclesiastes, it says, chapter 9, 16. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet, more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools.
Hmm. Yes,
That's
yes,
deep.
yes,
That's
it
deep,
is.
ain't it? Because you can, let me say this. Sometimes you can scan across these social media platforms as long as they're spewing hate, disorganization, love and
Millions.
hip hop, Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm going to still give it the same energy. As long as they're doing that, watch how many people follow that page. Watch how many people watch it. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as you start saying, hey, work on yourself, Allah and you and Allah are one, huh, bringing that truth, huh, bringing that holy breath, and you ain't dressed up like that.
Wow. That's
Baby, that's
deep,
getting
Absolutely.
quiet. I'm
sis.
talking get one, two people that may listen in. Some that may come in and then leave out because the information ain't dramatized enough. This is the
Mhm.
state of our people. This is the state of mind that they're still into. And that's still mental enslavement.
It's
Okay.
funny because I was talking to my husband this morning, especially about that energy, because we know that everything is made out of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, carnal is thick. that energy is super thick out here right now. Everybody's just doing what they want to do, pleasing their lower self, and not knowing that they're going to have consequences in due time. They may not show up right away, but they're going to show up. It shows up, whether it be
Mm.
later in life or in your second infancy, as they call it, as you return back to Allah. You're going to start seeing
Ooh.
some things show up. And here we are with the repercussions of everything that we wanted to feed. Oh, this feels good. Oh, this is a great thing. Oh, this is all a feeling. Yet when you get full of that feeling, what do you do when you get so full? You regurgitate. You start throwing it
Mm-hmm.
up.
Mm. Mm.
You're
Come on
so
now.
full of negative carnal things that your body cannot process anything.
Mm-mm-mm. Yes.
Ooh,
And that
powerful.
permeates even down to a physical level where your physical body will stop
Yes.
processing foods, emotions, thoughts, everything
Yes.
will be systematically thrown out to now. That's where a lot of our health conditions are rooted
Islam.
in that.
And given that thick energy, it's so hard to get our people in one accord because we
Hmm.
have given them this space to loosely feed their carnal self.
Ooh, ooh, that's a good way to put it. To loosely feed their carnal self. Ooh.
Loosely.
This
And
is
then
why
when
you
I
need. Go ahead. My apologies.
no, sis, go ahead, because I was kind of
This
gonna
is
go to another
okay.
direction.
No, that's fine. This is why we need these. That's why we need the Constitution and the acts and the laws. We need these things because, like you said, we done got too far away from spirit for real. Like we have tapped in too deep into carnal everything, carnal flesh from every facets of life we have. So he gave
Mm.
us time. I feel like Allah, the mother and father, has given us time to actually. What did my grandmother used to say? Be on the playground with the devil. And Kanye has a song where he says the devil runs the playground, but God owns the building.
Oh wow.
Promise
Okay.
the devil runs
Okay.
the playground, but God owns the building. Please understand this. And so, I just wanted to bring that to a point where we're quick to run to that. We're quick to run to the most foolish thing. So go ahead, Sister Shonda. What were you gonna say before I don't want you to lose your thought either.
Oh no, sis, I was enjoying you. I'm poor man. It's really kind of in all of 13 through 17 in Ecclesiastes still. But I was focusing on the verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom. What exactly is the poor man's wisdom? Because I was listening to I listen to audiobooks and documentaries and stuff all the time. And what this one documentary was basically focusing on our health. But what they were saying was the habits and ways of the savage is what they want. They were using that word to be kind of sarcastically speaking, because the world decided that indigenous people were savages, but the ways of the savage was actually more aligned with health than what we have now. Because our breathing was different, our way of living was different. But we will look at the technology and the advancement of society now and think that this is richness, what we live in now. But when we were living more closer to the land, which we would call poor now, is when we had our optimum health. And so it's just some of those things that I was thinking when I was looking at the poor man's wisdom. Like, what actually is the poor man's wisdom? Poor, what people that we would call someone poor because they don't have the luxuries that we have. And let's just say electromagnetic energy is toxic to us. So we'll find somebody living off the land, on farm land. We'll consider that poor and think that somebody who has a bunch of fancy cars or a bunch of fancy technology in their house, we will call that person rich. So I just think our idea of what's rich and poor is so distorted too, that it's hard for us to see the wisdom that somebody we call poor may have in so many different facets of life.
Wow.
Like I don't own a television. And some people might think that's a poor decision I made. No, come on, I can buy a television. Like they're really cheap right now.
Islam.
But
Mhm.
I don't have one by design because I don't want to fall into the habit of watching it. Like I don't want that
Right.
programming.
The
And for somebody,
television.
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with having one, but that's just my course of action I took is I don't want one. And somebody could easily think, oh, she's too poor to have a TV. No, thank you. I'm too rich to want the programming. Like,
Right.
Islam.
Islam has come through.
That
Yes.
went right in.
Because I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. I'm gonna give some testimony. So I had a salon in Little Five Points, Atlanta, right? Once upon a time, and in the city of Atlanta, it's a lot of homeless. Always been homeless. So the homeless didn't just pop off. It's always been a flux of homeless people. So my salon was in Little Five Points, and it's Little Five Points is full of homeless. Everywhere you go, they're laying around somewhere, right? So
mhm.
when I would leave at night, like I felt so protected by the poor wise man. Because let me tell you something about these homeless people with their wisdom,
Come
the
on.
things that would come out their mouth, the wisdom that they held was it was like you're like, yeah, you can't put a price tag on it. There would
Nope.
be nothing in this world that could be given to them that
Yes.
would even it couldn't even level up to the wisdom that these people carry. We called one nature man, we called one poet, we called one Copper John. Like everyone had a name. Nature man always put the red clay on his body in the summertime. But his
Mm,
skin in the wintertime, baby, the prettiest skin you've ever seen. Like he knows
got
something you don't. So as
the
much as
wisdom.
this man is being poor, as much as you might think he might not smell as good as you or whatever. This
Wow.
man holds more wisdom than you could ever ask.
Islam.
There was one man, he would walk down the street. He used to be a police officer here in Atlanta, and he watched his whole family be taken out. So he became, and so he walked down the street and be talking to himself, just talking. One day I'm outside trying to put some water in my radiator or something I was putting in the car. And he was like, he walked past, he seen the smoke. He said, hey, you about to have a fire. So he was smart enough and had a wisdom enough to stop and say, hey, you about to start a fire. And after I was like, okay, and he stopped and helped. And then after he was done, he went back to talking to himself, walking down the street, like, hey, this is me.
Oh goodness. And
I'm
what if like
more.
why do we consider them all poor? What if they're just renunciates? Like what if they
Come
really
on, sis.
renunciated this life and they don't care the way we care about these
That's
things? Like
it.
They
That's
don't.
it.
mhm,
They're not attached to these things. They're not. I'm telling you, you could let me tell y'all something. You could come through the city of Atlanta, through the streets of Atlanta. It may be this way in other places, but baby, they up under the bridge. They got the barbecue grill. They got the kids.
yes.
They playing cards, dominoes. They living the life, honey.
They
They
Praise
ain't
do.
worried about
Allah.
electric bill or car note.
Hey, they ain't
What
worried
they
about
call the
none of that.
simple life.
First of the month don't mean no. Rest of us worried about
Nothing.
bills. They like, what day is
Okay.
it?
Come on, sis. Stressing.
Mr.
Look,
Wendell. That's all I'm gonna say. Mr.
hey,
Wendell.
you're gonna listen to
Mr.
that later.
Wendell, the group, that made the song.
Yes, I'm about to listen to that. All right,
Ah,
let's go back.
You made me
Mr.
think
Wendell.
about chapter 7. It just things are just popping up here. The friendship
Mhm.
of Jesus and Lamaze, and
Uh-huh.
how Jesus explains to Lamaze the meaning of truth.
Uh-huh.
And he clearly says it, like uh divine instruction 22 again. Lamaze says, of wisdom what have you to say? And Jesus said, it is the consciousness that man is all, that Allah and man are one, that naught is not, that power is but an illusion, that
Yeah.
heaven and earth and hell are not above, around, below, but in,
Mm,
which in the light of all becomes not, and Allah is all.
Islam.
Ultimately, we're returning back to something that's truly divine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that wisdom that we neglect from people that have experienced more than ourselves,
mm,
shame on you.
Yes. Come
Because
on
we're
now.
perfected by what we suffer. Them people are close to perfect.
Woo! Come on.
Ooh, the eyes we got, the eyes and we see with, and the ears we hear with.
Oh
Islam.
gosh, I tell you. That's why I say if you have ears, see, they think because the ears are attached to their head and the eyes attached to their faces, that's real science and real
Mm.
spirit. But we got to go deeper than that, like you said.
Yes.
And in 18 it says, "Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good."
Mm.
Um,
That's a deep one right there.
yeah, that very good. I'm telling you, when I was in this book, I was going, "Oh my!" All I kept saying is, we could go to so many parts of this Holy Quran and find this. Just what you were saying, you was like, "Sis, this
Absolutely.
is all of those
It
chapters." Like
correlates. It goes together. It just goes to show that Allah brought something for everyone.
everyone, not just some. And that's the problem. It's like people think they own this
Mm.
spirituality. You don't own spirituality. Nobody has a copyright on it. Nobody has a LLC or EIN number on spirituality.
And that's so personal. That is
Yes.
so
Mm-hmm.
personal. That journey is you and your divine creator. That is so. Uh, that's not for everybody, and it's not going to be for everybody. But praise Allah for knowing that when we plant the seed, it takes that time to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be patient, patient with just the understanding that we all are given, because Allah gives us our own portion of the understanding. Like we don't have to know everything, because the point that you made earlier is the unity. We all need
Mm-hmm.
one another. You have certain things that you have thought out and said that I've never even thought of. But that's why we benefit from the grand scheme of things. We benefit from one another.
Yes.
I need some of your thoughts. I need some of Sister Shonda's thoughts. Like
Islam
that
and vice
develops
versa.
more
Vice
thoughts,
versa, yes.
productivity, and actual work.
Islam. Islam.
Islam, the actual work.
It's the actual word. Yes. Yes. And so in chapter 10 of Ecclesiastes, because I'm gonna go into our circle 7 too, because it's just like you were saying, Sister Shar. So this book was so relevant to what we are taught about self-discovery. So
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
in Ecclesiastes, I'm going, whoa, the self-discovery that's going on in this book is like, whoa,
Yes.
wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
In chapter 10, as we were just talking, dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinky savor. So doth a little folly him that is in reputation for wisdom and honor. The smell the same. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Just because, no, the smell is the same. It still stank. It still stank
Mm-hmm.
because you want
Mhm.
honor behind something because you got some wisdom. But it still stank.
Right, it still stank.
Come on,
Mm-mm.
sis. Come on.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Yet also when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to everyone that he is a fool. If the spirit of the
Mm.
ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifies great offenses. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. I
Mm.
have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whosoever breaketh a hedge, a serpent shall bite him. When I look at that, it's we can watch our brothers and sisters, they'll dig a hole for each other. They'll be trying to
Mm.
dig a hole for one person. You know how JC
Mm-hmm.
say, dig a hole, bury yourself. Bam,
Yeah.
right? Bury yourself. Don't dig no hole for nobody else because you feel you're so you've arrived, or you have so much honor and dignity and pride that you can go dig holes for other people.
That has to
Oh,
go. We gotta
and
we
that's
gotta
what we
see that
do.
divinity.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. And then since I'm always looking for them esoteric nuggets there. So I got to go back up to 2
Okay.
because in 10 too, because when we dealing
Okay.
with the right left hand, that immediately triggered in my mind the right left energy, masculine, feminine energy. And so I sat there for a second when I had first read this, and I'm like, okay, we know that it says a wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Now, the right side of the body is more aligned with masculine energy, and the left side of the body is more aligned with the feminine energy. But we also know that the masculine energy is more responsible for thought, and the feminine energy is more responsible for feeling. So the
Mhm.
text to me was jumping out and saying we look at the heart as a feeling organ, like we're supposed to do things based off what we feel. So
Yeah.
to me, the text is saying get your feelings out of it, because the wise man heart moves with thought, and that thought is aligned with Allah, of course, not your own thought. So it's like come
Come
out of
on.
your feelings and do what is right.
Hammer, hammer, I am hammer.
Yes, ma'am.
Use that hammer,
Oh,
sis.
yeah.
Yes,
That holy breath.
yes, yes. Come
Yeah.
on, that's so.
Praise.
Ooh, that right there. That oh man, that just jumped out even 10 times more at me. Mm.
I
Because
love it, love it.
the right is the thought, and women in the emotional part will move in chaos. We'll act a fool on.
Hmm.
So even as a fool, because a man can still be in his hyper feminine when he's acting a fool.
Yes. 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 It's
Where
definitely
they
ain't
dropped the
gender
ball.
specific.
I, I believe that's where they dropped the ball. Like the
Hey, come
balance.
on.
What happened to balancing these things?
Hmm.
Exactly. But if you be like, well, why you so emotional? I'm not emotional. Oh, you are emotional.
You are emotional.
You're running off my side of the brain, and I'm running more off your side. Like, can we think about this first before we be reacting?
Mm.
So you're right. This
Hmm.
has nothing to do with man or woman, because a woman will quickly shift into our right brain and be
We
thinking.
do it every day.
You be
Hmm.
like, "Ooh, let me think about this first." So our
Hmm.
masculine side makes us think first before we react. So on the
Hmm.
other end, on our masculine, from the man's point of view, do their feminine make them move on their actions? Because I'm trying to tell y'all, from my sons, cousins, nephews, I name it. If you
Hmm.
tell them don't do it, they're gonna go do it, and then after they mess up, they're gonna come back and say, "Dang, I should have listened to you." And I'll be like, "What?" But I mean, you was warned.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's wrong. Okay, thank you, Sister Shonda, for bringing that out. I needed that.
Islam.
Okay, so in chapter 10, I also liked 18 to 20.
Mm-mm. I just
And
wrote that word down.
did you? Uh oh.
Slothfulness. I was on my house and writing that, like writing my note to myself, like things I need to deal with. So that slothfulness word just jumped out to me like goodness. There you go
Islam.
again.
Islam. Ecclesiastes 10, what about chapter 10, verse 18? By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. A
Mm-mm.
feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. Curse not the king, no, not in thy thoughts, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Okay, you said about slothfulness, right?
Mm-hmm.
By slothfulness, the building decays. When I look at that, I think about our movement. Like it's a lot of slothfulness going on, and it is causing it to decay. And the problem is why something that we have to keep this built up. So
Mm-hmm.
even as it's decaying, us as the sisters and as the women or as the feminine nature, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
say, have to keep it clean. We're gonna have to keep it cleaned up so we don't allow the decay to come in.
Absolutely.
We're protecting this for our children. We're protecting this for the generations to come. Like I say, this is not about just a us thing. That vain thing, I had to really be checking myself. Like, no, we're not coming up here to be vain. We're not coming up here for self gain. We have nation to save, and a nation can rise no higher than its woman at the end of the day,
Come
no
And
matter
on.
its
come on,
mother.
that's ooh.
Come on.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
So we can't sit back and allow it to decay. And if we become idle, it's gonna drop through. The ceiling's gonna fall in, the roof gonna cave in
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
if we're not careful. So in like you
absolutely.
were saying, Sister Shar, we need each other because guess what? We can't hold this up by ourselves, brothers.
Mhm.
We can't, we need your
Mm-hmm.
strength.
Absolutely.
We need your strength so we can keep it clean. We keep it clean, y'all keep it held up, keep the building blocks together. Go
And
ahead.
we're gonna
Hey,
make them, and we're gonna make them accountable.
Yes,
We're gonna
yes,
make them accountable because there is some trauma there too. So if you're
exactly.
yes,
not working these things out, you cannot be a leader in no way, shape, or form.
You can't. You can't.
cannot.
You cannot. And if you can't accept assistance from someone excuse me, because I'm not trying to make this into a man woman thing, but a lot of these brothers need assistance from a sister, and they need to
Hmm.
stop playing like that ain't what's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah, that's
That's a
exactly
big
what's
problem.
wrong.
You need, yeah, like you need an assistant from a righteous sister,
A
not a
right,
ratchet sister, but a righteous sister.
Yeah.
Even
righteous
if she
sister.
has been ratchet in her life, because we all have been ratchet once upon a time.
Yeah.
I know I
Hmm.
have.
And we're coming out of
Yeah.
those things. We're coming out of the cares of the world. That is part of what we're coming out of, what we're
Islam.
detoxing from.
Islam.
How are we going to experience anything else if we haven't been through the worst for for the betterment of ourselves, for the betterment of ourselves? That's so important.
Islam.
Hmm.
You're going to be
It's
put
not.
through the test, but you got to pass that test because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, we need each other.
Yes, we do.
And we
Yes, we
cannot
do.
keep infiltrating something that's so divine with nonsense.
That's so true. So very true. We
Let's take
cannot.
responsibility for everything that we're actually putting out and be mindful. Is this going to assist my sister? Is this going to assist my brother? Now, if you're getting all emotional, then you got to check yourself because something
Hmm.
is truly wrong.
Islam.
Yes, that's
Totally.
Islam.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Ooh, deep. All right. Let me go. Okay, I'm gonna cause she done said all that. So I'm gonna go over here to
Unfolding, baby. We
girl,
unfolding.
Unfolded,
unfolding.
yeah.
Beautiful. I want us to go at 5 in chapter 11. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child.
Mm.
Even so, thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. So, who knoweth not the works of Allah who maketh all? In the morning, sow thy, for thou knowest not whether shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good. Here we go. It still sounds like that's coming out of this circle. I'm like, this,
Uh-huh.
it's like
Islam.
Hmm.
poetry. Like poetry. You're like, wait a minute. Hold on. No, it's not thou shalt prosper either. Like this sounds like it's coming directly from like the prophet. Oh my goodness. When I tell you, I fall in love with this more and more the more that it unfolds. Like it's just like if I could just jump inside of this and it comes
Hmm.
all these words within myself, like it's just that powerful. The more that I study and read it. Um Truly the light is sweet and a pleasant thing. It is for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years and rejoice in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity.
Deep.
Mm. Deep, deep, deep.
All of it
Mm-mm-mm.
is vanity.
It's all self-serving.
All of
Very
it.
much
Goodness.
so.
Even your days of darkness, yeah, self-serving. Even your days of, could be self-serving. All of it. We're falling into that. That's like you said. You can really see the fall, Sister Shaw. When you say you can really see
Mm-hmm.
how deep we've fallen into things.
Hmm.
Um, and then 9 it says, "Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thy heart, and in the sight of
Mm.
thy eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So do
Pull it
as thou
up.
wilt.
Pretty much.
Go ahead, young man, young woman. Go for it. Let your heart cheer
Mm-hmm.
thee in the days of thy youth. Walk on in the, go ahead with your heart, like you said, that emotional side. Go on with it. Go for it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, remove sorrow from thy heart and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh goodness. Like, cause that's to me plays into the idea that we got time. You know,
Mm.
like in our vanity, we assume I can party today. I can get right with with the Lord tomorrow. That's what we used to say.
Wow.
Exactly. I can party today and I'm gonna be all right. Let me tell y'all something. Ooh, testimony again.
Come on.
Yesterday, I went to visit a friend, and where I went to visit this friend, it's in the hood. You know what I'm saying? It's in the hood. While I'm sitting with the friend and the auntie, it's all of this, all the medicines, all the things that are wrong. And I'm just sitting looking and I'm going, wow. And when they told me I was going to die, this is what she said. When they told me I was going to die, she said, one more thing and you're going to die. She said, I went and bought everything that could take me over the top, everything. And I went 3 days strong. And after them 3 days, I said, I'm not doing it no more because I don't want to die. I said, and I've heard that so many times from hearing people talk about that. And it's like,
Hmm.
whoa, like you was chancing all of that that you could have even taken yourself out at that point.
Mm.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
lessons, they become so comfortable in them because like the sister said, you think you have time. And so
Yeah.
because Allah is so merciful and he says, okay, so you didn't get it this time, I'm gonna send you back.
I'm gonna send
And I'm
you
gonna send
back.
you back. And that's what they think. They be like, oh well, I can just come back. Well, what about if Allah don't see you fit to come back? And now you have to struggle through worse.
Yes. Yes.
They say it's life sums here and it's life sums there. So you're gonna be battling your foes no matter where you find yourself.
No matter what. Yeah. And that's what really, as I'm looking at them, my friend says, thank you for coming to hang with the old people today. And I'm just like, nah, you're not old. It's only because you're putting that energy on yourself. But
Yes.
listening to all of the things, it's just like, wow, how we do these things to ourselves, and then we get to that point, like the prophet even speaks of in the circle 7 when he tells you not to oh, which one is it? Is it young men? About not drying up the spring of your youth by overusing it, taking advantage of it, using it too much, or those things. He says something along those lines. Let me see where I can find it. Where does he say that? Is it in Young Men?
Okay.
All right, Islam. Let me see. Is it in Young Men?
Yes.
Where does he say that? Yes, Islam. The Divine Instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 20, verse 4.
Yes.
The fountain of health, which must supply the stream of pleasure, shall be quickly dried up, and every spring of joy shall be exhausted. In
Mm.
the prime of life, old age shall overtake thee. The sun shall decline in the morning of thy days. And we know it even happens with our brothers in the morning of the days.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes because you take advantage of it, it'll decline. It won't work. It'll start not doing what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
and including sisters. So we need to get it together because it just don't stop there.
Islam, it gives you the solution as well. Come on now.
Amen. So I'm not taking this a male woman thing. I'm telling you, it happens. It's happening, but we got to still recognize it so that
Absolutely.
men stop thinking that they can abuse these things. Because even the prophet brought lessons that you can't abuse that. That's not something you should be abusing.
At all.
And when it goes back to wisdom too, application anoints thee with the oil of wisdom.
Islam.
Application. You can't
Mm.
just
Islam.
be spraying it and thinking you in it.
Islam.
This is
Come
not a
on.
mist.
You know what? And in this book, it talks about the anointment of wisdom.
Islam.
It sure does
Mm-hmm.
talk about that anointment of wisdom. Whoa, come on, King Solomon. What is Jesus's bloodline? We're going to have to go to that place.
You
Because,
saying what?
brother,
Jesus? He comes from the bloodline of the Moabites.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and in our 101s, it speaks on what is, hold on, let me find the question. What
Got you,
is,
sis.
oh, Islam in our 101s? Quest
27.
27.
Let's
Will you
go.
give will you give in brief line genealogy through which Jesus came? Some
Some
of
of
the
the
great
great
fathers
fathers through which
through which
Jesus
Jesus
came
came,
are
like Abraham, Boaz by Ruth,
Baruch, Jesse,
Jesse, King
King
David,
David, Solomon,
Solomon, Hezekiah, and
Hezekiah, and
Joseph
Joseph by
by
Mary.
Mary. So you think we
Mm.
weren't supposed to be reading Ecclesiastes for real?
And
Ooh,
and that's the
ooh.
brief line, okay? So that's just to let us know that
Sure.
there's a deeper
Exactly.
line.
Islam. Islam. So
Mm-hmm.
how we ain't even been digging into our brother Solomon like that to really see what he was bringing. Oh, he was bringing your vanity out, baby. He was trying to tell you.
Islam calling them
He
Mm.
out.
Oh,
said,
sis, and then one day we're gonna have to go into this song of Solomon because he was in love with that black woman in that book right there.
oh, is that when she cut off his locks?
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no. This is that was Samson and
Samson that
Delilah.
was cut off.
No,
Yeah.
King Solomon,
Solomon,
this
who he was
king
in love
who,
with.
a lot of it's a nameless goddess. A lot of people will try to say that it was written to actually the Queen Sheba, but we
Oh.
really don't know. But it's just a beautiful ballad of him just expressing. I think I wish our brothers would read this because this was a
Mm.
king. This was a king who had the power to do whatever he wanted to do in the world, in the land, but he still knew how to honor and admire the black goddess, the black woman. And
Mm,
so
mm.
that's what I love about it.
Praise
And
Allah.
yeah.
Islam.
Mm,
Ah,
mm.
coming through, y'all. This is y'all are like giving me life right now. Now in chapter 12 of Ecclesiastes, in 3, in the day when the
Yes.
keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when
Mm,
they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. Because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. All is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yeah, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs.
Mm.
Words of the wise are as gods, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given one shepherd. And further by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books, there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, fear Allah, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Allah shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Mm-mm. Islam.
Islam, Islam. So even when I was talking to Sister Shonda and I was asking about the word prophet, because in Ecclesiastes it's always talking about profit, profit. So it's to gain something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also when I looked it up, also, and it was talking about profit, um,
Mm-hmm.
said what was the definition specifically? It said from the Hebrew Bible perspective. Perspective, what does it mean, right? And when I sent it to Sister Shonda, this is what it came up. What does profit mean in the Bible? And the Hebrew word here translated profit has to do with anything that would profit, gain, or benefit us. In other words, God is teaching us to pursue our profit, our gain, our benefit.
Yes.
But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we're looking for the profit when we should really be looking for the spirit of the prophet.
Right. Absolutely.
Um,
Islam.
Think that's what could be throwing some things off. It could be, I was like, could that be causing confusion, Sister Shonda? Maybe somebody seen that and was like, oh, I can profit from that.
I can
you know,
profit from
people
that.
like to
Seems like it.
interpret things as they see fit for themselves.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Man. So in there, I said, this is why we have our one-on-ones, y'all. This is why our one-on-ones are so important.
Yes.
Yes.
So when we go, we have to ask, well, what is a prophet? Because then we have a question. What is the prophet? That's in our Quran 101 questions for Moorish Americans. And it's number 6. What is a prophet? A prophet is a
Prophet
thought of Allah
Mm.
manifested in
manifest
the
in human
flesh.
flesh. That's right.
What is the duty of a prophet? To save
To say
nations from the
Jesus
wrath
from the
of
wrath of
Allah.
Allah.
Well, you heard me say the duty of man, what it was, right? The full duty of man,
Right.
but it can still be all done in vanity. To be
It's
from a
fine.
man's perspective, especially if you wasn't the thought of Allah manifested in flesh.
Mm-hmm. That takes me to religion
Girl,
real
come on
quick.
then, let's
Mm.
Chapter
go.
35.
Come on, let's go religion. Let's go religion.
Oh, think
35.
not, bold
35.
man, because thy punishment is delayed, that the arm of Allah is weak, and neither flatter thyself with
Mm.
hopes that he winketh at thy doings.
Mm,
His eye pierce the secrets of every heart, and he remembereth them forever. He respected no persons or the stations of men, the high, the low, the rich, the poor, the wise, the ignorant. When the soul hath shaken off the cumber shackles, you know what cumber shackles is? Ooh, baby.
Mm.
Of this mortal life shall equally receive from the sentence of just and everlasting retribution. That's big. Retribution, people need to look that up.
yeah, you're right.
According
Mm.
and then you get retribution according to what?
Their
To
work.
your works, to their
Mm.
work, baby. Then shall the wicked tremble and be afraid, but the heart of the righteous shall rejoice in his judgments.
Islam.
Oh, fear, therefore, all the days of Allah. I'm sorry. Oh, fear Allah, therefore, all the days of thy life, and walk in the path which he hath opened before thee. Let prudence admonish thee. Let temperance restrain. Let
Mm,
justice guide thy hand. Benevolence warm thy heart, and gratitude to heaven inspire thee with devotion. These, and only these, shall give thee happiness in thy present state, and
mm.
bring thee to the mansions of eternal felicity in the paradise of Allah. This is the true economy of human life. So
Oh,
that's where the profit comes in. The
Mm.
profit as
Right.
in gaining something. We
Mm.
are gaining something. It's just not tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Mm-mm-mm-mm. There's that that reward, that poor man's reward and wisdom again.
Islam, queen.
Yes, Islam, Islam, Islam. So when looking at that, a thought of Allah manifested in the flesh. So what's the duty of a prophet from our perspective, from our prophet to save nations from the wrath of Allah? Right. So even when you were talking, Sister Shonda, I mean
Mm-hmm.
Sister Shar, when you were just speaking on when we look at verse 29 in chapter 35, and it talks about, oh, fear therefore all the days of thy life. It tells you about prudence, temperance, justice, benevolence. And when we
Islam.
look at that, aren't those instructions, those are a part of the 12-step ladder
Come
in the
on, queen.
for our children. In the
Yes.
12-step ladder, it talks about it. It says, I'm just going to go through the 12-step ladder. Teach him
Yes.
obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. Oh, excuse me, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 23, holy instructions for thy children. Teach him
Mm.
gratitude. Number 9, teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. Teach him temperance, and he shall have health.
Yes.
Teach him prudence, and fortune shall attend him.
Come
Teach
on.
him justice, and he shall be honored by the world. Teach him sincerity, and his own heart shall not reproach him. Teach him diligence, and his wealth shall increase. Teach
Mm.
him benevolence, and his mind
Mm-hmm.
shall be
Shall be
prosperous.
exalted.
Teach him science, and his life shall be satisfied. Teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. Because as she said, we went into the chapter of religion, and it says to teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. Even your
Islam.
mental death will be happy. You'll be you have toiled to let go of this mental enslavement. You'll be
Right.
Islam.
excited to see yourself come out of it. That is the true economy of human life.
Islam.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
True
The
economy of
economy of
human
human
life.
life.
It is.
Oh, I
Beautifully,
love that.
beautifully put.
So even with that, so as a prophet, so I wanted to say, well, what are angels? Because I know, we're talking about vanity,
Mm-hmm.
but also we have a duty, we have a job, we have a duty as to me as angels. Because when we look at what is an angel, because
Oh, look at that.
why do we demonstrate? Why do we want our people to really know it and get into this information of knowing who you are? No, I don't feel it's for self gratification and self gain. Not when it's coming from certain people. Maybe for some it is that way, but
Right.
for me, no, for those that I attract, not at all. Not for that at all. So I wanted to know, well, what is an angel? What is an angel? What is that? And
Um.
what are angels called to do? So
Mm.
in our one
Mm-hmm.
on ones, we can go to question number 38.
Islam.
And it says, what is an angel? The response is, an angel is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. What are angels used for? To carry messages
Mm.
to the four corners of the world, to all the nations,
That's right.
to all the nations,
Oh,
not to some of them, not to a portion of them, not to the city of Atlanta,
Come
not to the
on.
city of Miami. No,
right.
it
Oh,
says all nations. All it says
Islam.
all nations.
All. Not in
When we
parentheses.
nope, it's not. It says
Come
all.
on.
So then it says, what is our prophet to us? He is an angel of Allah who was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
So everlasting meaning don't stop, meaning the prophet being that he was Jesus come again, meaning that spirit don't stop,
That's
meaning
right.
that spirit continues, meaning that spirit is still a part of you, me, and everyone else. If you're just
Infinite.
willing to tap into the spirit. But when you
That's
don't
right.
believe in the spirit because you need a scapegoat to run after, you need a body
Mm.
to put your issues and problems on. You need a
mm-hmm.
person to blame for your woes. You
Come
need a
on.
person so you don't seem vain. So you want a scapegoat so you can blame your vanities and your folly on them and not take it for yourself.
Islam says.
And that's not right. Because that's not you, we're not put here to be to be misused like that.
Absolutely.
Our prophet is not. And I feel when you're tapping into this spirit, that divinity, that's why this is a divine. It's not only just national, but it's a divine movement. So
Islam.
divinity has to do with your spirit.
That's right.
That's what divinity has to do with. It don't have to do with, it has to do with you within. And you can't run from that. So what are you doing when no one's looking? How are you acting when no one's looking?
Islam.
Are you showing up as Islam?
How are you aligning yourself with the
Islam.
divinity?
And we all got to check ourselves, We all do. We all are, like you say, Sister Shaw, we're all coming out of this. So, no, we're not standing up here saying, I'm perfect, you're perfect, they're perfect. None of that. But we're checking ourselves so that we can align ourselves into alignment with Allah. So our will and the will of Allah stays in alignment. That's why these lessons are important too. We can go over the same chapter every Friday, every Sunday, but obviously something in there is making us align ourselves back to our Father God Allah, our Father and our Mother.
Truly.
So I wanted to say that because we are angels. We do come to give the message, especially when you know better, you do better. So even when in your knowing, you should be able to help assist others. I am the reflection of you. We are the reflection of each other. So there's nothing I should be holding secret unto
Come
my
on,
sister.
sis.
I want them to know too.
You're
Nothing
going
I should be holding
directly.
from my brother because I want him to know too.
Yes.
That's
It's
how we
part
should.
of our social duties. You going directly into the chapter, which lets us know what is our job. We have a job.
We have a social duty. Islam. We do. And are we even falling into those social duties? Because Sister Shonda, we were building on the Lilith. We were building on Lilith, Sister Shaw, right?
Islam.
And really understanding Lilith's stance and what was going on with her, like what her mind was like,
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Sister Shonda that only two angels held their station. The angels and the cherubim, only ones that held their station. And when I was reading into the story of Lilith, um, and it says she ran to the Red Sea, like she just was like, "I'm out. I'm not about to disobey Allah. I'm out. If you want that apple, you go find you somebody to get you that apple. But I'm going over here. I'm not in it. I already know what he said, and he said what he said, and he meant what he said. You want to try to play the fool by halves, and I'm not
Come
about to play.
on.
I'm out. Right?
We let's go directly into it though.
Uh-huh.
Social duties.
Okay. Come on,
When
social duties. Let's go. Let me try to
when thou considerest thy wants. See these words. I'm telling you, we gotta slow walk these lessons, honestly. Because
Wait,
even
Coach,
that
let
those
me get
three
you.
words are deep. When thou considerest thy wants. What kind of wants are you considering?
Mm.
Okay. When thou beholdest thy imperfections. Now we know we have imperfections, but are we being self-aware of the damage that we're actually putting people through? No, we're not being mindful of these things.
Uh-huh.
It says, acknowledge his goodness, O son of humanity, who honored thee with humanity, endowed thee with speech. Now we know that the prophet let us know that we should not even use not one bad word to speak to people because we are love.
Islam.
Said, and place thee in the society to receive and confer reciprocal helps and mutual obligations. So we have mutual obligations. Look that word up. Obligation. That's a
Mm.
contract with Allah.
Mm. Come on now. Come on. Who are you obligated to? Who are you?
Allah.
Islam. Who is your first allegiance to? That's always my question.
Yes,
Who are you allegiance to? Oh, yeah.
truly. He said obligation, protection from injury. See, this is what keeps you safe.
Mm.
Thy
Right.
enjoyments of the comforts and the pleasures of life. All these thou owest to the assistance of others. This is not
Hmm.
to you. This is not for you. This is not a me thing.
Come on.
And couldn't not enjoy it, but in the bands of society. So that instruction alone can go so deep into actually what we're here to do. Our obligation to one another, to assist one another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is thy duty, therefore, to be a friend to mankind, as it is thy in thy interest that man should be friendly to thee. As the rose breatheth sweetness from his own nature, so the heart of a benevolent man produceth good works. That's how you produce good work.
Yes.
He
Mm.
enjoyeth the ease and tranquility of his own breast, and rejoiceth in happiness and prosperity of his neighbor. Come on, man. We taking jabs at our own people.
Come on.
And here goes this selfless individual doing for others that he may not even know.
Don't even know them. They ain't even in the same place, country, state, nowhere.
Islam. He openeth not his ear unto slander. A lot of stuff that we're entertaining is slander.
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
cannot. This is instruction. These are divine instructions.
Islam.
The
Islam.
faults and the failings of men give a pain to his heart. Truly,
It does.
this
Yeah.
hurts.
It does.
The fact that
Yeah.
we cannot progress after 100 years of hard work, it's sad, and it's just really sad and surreal to see. But Allah is the leader, and we know that victory is sure.
Islam.
His desire is to do good, and he researcheth out the occasion thereof. Like, I'm looking for any opportunity to assist and love on my
Islam.
people.
Come on, sis. Let's talk about it. See, that's what I'm talking about. Come on, unfold these lessons. Come on.
He said, in removing the oppressions of another, he relieveth himself. You want to know
See,
how to get
oh,
yourself right? Help somebody else. Assist, assist anyone. And you'll have that amazing feeling of actually accomplishing something that was not for you.
Exactly. But when you're assisting them, don't look for it to come, like, don't look
Islam.
for it to come back, and don't look to be glorified for it.
That's right. Because you
Just
are
be
to
there to
love and
show
not
love.
demand love in return.
I love return. Islam. Come on
From
now.
the largeness of his mind, he comprehended in his wishes the happiness of all men. And from the generosity of his heart, he endeavoreth to promote it. Are we
Is
promoting love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice?
hmm.
Are we walking in a path that Allah has opened before us?
Mm.
Reflection is the business of man. Are we
Ooh,
reflecting?
ooh, yes, it is. Reflection is the business of man. Reflection is the
With that,
business
I say
of
peace.
man. Islam. Islam. I love it. Sister Shonda, you want to camel back off of that in any way?
no, I'm just taking it in. Like, no, it's good word. And it's like, I love the part because I was thinking that when she said, when you help your another man, your fellow man, it removes the burden from yourself. And it's like,
Yes.
and that's not your reason for doing it individually, but collectively. If everybody did their duty, life would not be hard. Life wouldn't be
Islam.
buried.
Hmm. Hmm.
Islam.
Islam, sis. Islam. Oh my goodness. Come on now. All right.
Exactly.
So I wanted to. Mm, mm, mm. Wow, y'all got me going right now.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow. Wow, y'all got me on right now. I'm like, oh,
Praise Allah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Enjoying
This
everything
has
that.
been great. I wanted to tell you about the two angels that held their station,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
written down for you too. Oh my gosh. Just let them know that the angel. I think I have it back here. Hold on.
Chapter 1.
Let me go. You might find it before me. You might find it before me, my love. Let's see.
I'm ready when you are, Queen.
This pleasure is not that one. Um, mhm. I don't know what I wrote down. Okay, do you found it?
It's in chapter 1.
Not that one. I was looking for when he says, and I could have swore I wrote it down, but now I don't. I see I did not write it down. um, number 6 and 7. Hold on. 6 and 7. No, I didn't do that.
They fell not.
Yeah, the two angels that held their station. It says the angel and the cherubim that held their state. Let them know they held their station. Where is that one at?
Yeah, let me
Man,
look.
I had it. Oh my goodness. Please forgive me, Sister Shonda. Because I wanted to point this out for you because I know once you see it and you grab it, you are going to, she's going to run with it. I already know. That's why I really want to give the time.
Yeah, definitely we're talking about it.
Yes, and I had it this morning. Where did I have it? Oh, I could have swore I wrote it down, y'all. I could have
So
swore
it's
I
not the one that was on chapter 1. Okay.
is it not the one on chapter one. Let me see if it's chapter that's 17. Maybe it's chapter 7. Is it chapter 7? Hold on, Sister Shonda, I'm coming. I want you, yeah, I
Okay,
want to
I'm
give,
listening.
let me
I
see.
didn't hear.
This is chapter 17. No, it's not chapter 17. Is it chapter?
Okay, that was chapter, let's see, 11.
It's chapter 11. Why do I
Yes.
think that's what I put? Yeah, okay. And I don't know why it ain't chapter 11. It is number
Chapter 11, okay.
27 through 33.
31. 30
33.
to 30 on down.
Okay, here we go. Islam. Yes, it is. All right.
Thank
Here we go.
you.
I'm gonna start at 27 in this chapter.
Look.
The divine instructions from the holy prophet Jesus and Barata together, they read the sacred books. In 27, because all forms of life on every plane are thoughts of Allah. All creatures think, and every creature is possessed of will, and in its measure has the power to choose. And in their native planes, all creatures are supplied with nourishment from the ethers of their planes. And
Hmm.
so it was with every living thing until the will became a sluggish will. And then the ethers of the protoplast, the earth, the plant, the beast, the man begin to vibrate very slow. The ethers became more dense, and all the creatures of these planes were clothed with coarser garbs of flesh, which man can see.
Mm.
Thus the coarser manifest, which man called physical, appeared. And this is what is called the fall of man.
Yes,
But man fell not alone, for protoplasm
Mm-hmm.
and earth and plant and beast were all included in the fall. The angels and the cherubim fell not. Their wills
Mom.
were ever strong. And so they
Mm.
held the ethers of their planes in the harmony with Allah.
Wow.
Islam.
Islam.
Okay.
So
They
that's
held
what
it
that is.
together. They had the will.
They had the will.
The
So when
will.
I think of Lilith, I'm thinking she had the will of Allah.
Come
She
on.
wasn't trying to hear it. She said, you know what? I'll go to the Red Sea. I'll go on over there somewhere and be by myself, and you can have this. You and her can have all this over here, and I'm gonna go over here because I know Allah told us not to do that. If He made us equal, He gave us both that we was not supposed to eat from that tree.
Islam.
You keep looking at that tree, and I'm gonna let you go on and go to sleep over there under the tree, and I'm out. I'm gone. Even to this day, I just sat with a group of people. To this day, that portion of that part of the Red Sea still has not been occupied. So when I look at Lilith, I look at her as magnificent. When she says, you won't have the Moors, you'll never have the Moors. And
Come
she
on.
wrapped that thing up. She kept wrapping it up. Even though they took her wings, guess what? She still held her station. She still made sure
Right.
he didn't touching it. She still made sure she protected what belonged to Allah. Her will and Allah's will still stayed in the same vibration. And she ain't
Islam.
playing no games to this day. So that's the energy that's coming up now.
That
Yes.
you better say that. That's the energy that's coming up now.
That's what's here.
Islam.
So they've painted her in a very negative picture, which she's not negative. You can't paint that in a negative way. You need to dig deeper than what the story that they're giving you,
Oh
because it
yes.
goes deeper than just that.
Of course.
Yes.
Islam. So I wanted to bring that to Sister Shonda so she could see where, yeah, the
Yeah, I
other
appreciate that. I'm gonna meditate on that later too, because so what do you? I'm looking at cherubim and seraphim. Those words.
Mhm.
Do you know like individually what those words mean? I've never looked into it myself.
I have looked them up before. I have looked up the pictures and everything. Like so many notes I have on this stuff, and I really wish I had them like right here to go
To
back to
go, yeah,
that.
we're gonna have to talk about that later because I want to dig into what the because I definitely know you're on to something. That's true. You're speaking with the Lilith, Maleficent. It's
Mhm.
and we know they present things to us in a backwards kind of way all the time because they want us confused about what these energy.
Islam. That's a
They,
fact.
yeah, they say think it in reverse. Like I can remember when I was studying the Tree of Life, and you look at
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nat, which is the mother of the Matrix, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
show where it was going one way, and then they shifted it and made it go the other. So they're always like thinking opposite. Whatever they're telling you, think the opposite way. They say
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Mother Nat had the Matrix going in the correct direction. So even
Islam.
in studying those ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses of the higher realms and the heavens and all of that, it was like,
uh-huh.
whoa, Mother Nat was a beast. Even like the goddess Bess, a black cat. Oh, stay away from the black cat. But if you go
Mm-hmm.
into Bess and who she was as this goddess and the energy and power that this cat brought. Cats have 9 lives. I don't know how a cat got 9 lives, but it's so scary and evil.
Right.
Okay.
So it says here that the cherubim is a type of angel that serves celestials attendants to God. Basically standing firm.
See, okay.
One of those what they call them uh what is that word I'm looking for? Not so much a warrior, but a soldier. Like a soldier that does not take anything other than its duty personal. And it says the cherubim, it's a heavenly being that just praised Allah so much so that it wasn't shook. Her will, or the will of that creative energy, was just in tune with the will of Allah.
Islam.
So it never shook because it wasn't something that was world bound.
Islam. Yes, yes. Was not worldly. Yes, and so the seraphim, because as she said it, okay, so the seraphim.
Hmm.
There's the seraphim are celestial beings that appear in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic literature. The description: the seraphim are often depicted as having 6 wings, 2 for flying, and 2 each to cover their faces and feet. They are sometimes called the burning ones. In art, seraphims are often depicted in red, which symbolizes fire.
Hmm.
Mm.
All I think is the seven. I think of the seven Elohims every time I can even
Islam
come to grips with these
Yes.
angels that held their station. I think
station.
of these seven Elohims because even there is so even with that being said, where it says they are sometimes with the two wings that cover their faces and feet.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something that the elders will say in more science. They say, yeah, they always trying to cover stuff up, but every time they cover up their head, they expose their feet, and every time
Oh
they
wow,
Mm.
I like that.
to expose they to cover their feet, they expose their head. So then they'll say, now the cover done got so short they can barely cover their chest.
Wow. I like
You
that.
can't keep covering this up. You
A
can't
good
keep
analogy.
covering this up.
Yeah. And
The
it's
balance
within
is going to
us.
be.
If you really look at it and study the chakras, those seven entities are already within us.
Come on.
We're not waking up certain things that are within us. And
Yes.
that goes back to that energy being so thick and so carnal. We're just moving. We're not moving with
The energy.
spiritual
Mhm.
consciousness.
Spiritual
And I'm
consciousness.
being very careful with the words that I use because this is an awakening era. Like if
Mm-hmm.
we are not waking up these chakras that are already they're in us.
They're in us.
And
Yes.
we're waking up these things so that we're able to understand self, understand what was put
Wow.
forth for us to do, and to be able to do it in unison.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, deep, deep. Yes. Come on now. This is a spiritual
Mm-mm-mm.
awakening.
There has to be certain alignment going on within us, and we really
And
have to be
Oh,
mindful of that.
yes, we do.
you are
We do.
teaching. Mm-mm-mm.
Yes, she is teaching. Very much teaching. Thank you for that. Wow. I'm gonna say I want to give you an appearance of this seraphim that they talk about in the Old Testament. In the Old
Mm.
Testament, Isaiah describes the seraphim as having human faces, hands, and voices. However, some scholars describe seraphim as winged demons or winged fairy serpents. You see how they will twist some stuff.
Oh
That's why
yeah.
you gotta
Twisting
go
it.
to the
Mhm.
internet. They'll twist it up and make it just seem so demonic and evil and
Yes.
Hmm.
we don't really know. They're just telling us that because they want us to take on whatever they have sold out to be what it is instead of us really going deeper and finding out what this means. Like you said, the chakras. Well, the Bible, that's all it is a story about the chakra system.
Islam,
That's it.
truly, truly.
That's all that it's about. When you take a piece of paper, you guys can take a piece of paper. I want you guys to do this. I'm going to show you on a piece of paper on this screen if it will show up. But if not, I want you guys to do this when you get a moment. I want you to write. I'm gonna see if I can make it happen here. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's see.
I want you to, if you could write 1 through 9 down on one side,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and then 9 through 1 down on another side of the paper. If you add, and I want you to put them together like you're adding them together.
Hmm.
You done this,
Ain't that
Shonda?
right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. If I've seen some, I've done this before. Like it's crazy. That's why I love numerology and just the patterns and just
Yes,
Me too.
very
So
deep.
you see it?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
so
whole.
it's all whole. So no matter what, going up and down this ladder,
It's
I
still
call this the
10.
Jacob ladder of life. The 1 through the 9 to the 1. We just up and down, up
Yes,
and down. But we still gonna have to come to this oneness because really
Islam.
the only two numbers that really exist is 1 and 0.
One
Because
and
the only
zero.
real thing that is the wholeness, is the oneness.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we
yeah, it's
gotta
really just
the
one. Ugh.
holy things, the holy, the holistic part of things.
Wow.
If we're studying our chakras, if we're balancing them, then we're going to come into our wholeness. We're going to come into the holy. So then the holy got to come back even into the Moorish science temple of America, because it has to become the holy temple of science again. Once we're
Islam.
up and once we're able to align ourselves in the will of Allah's will and not
That's
our
right.
own. This is why we got these breaks in our circle on our Quran. Because we just constantly want it, but when this circle closed and you can't, you ain't gonna be able to do what you want to do no more. It's gonna be just like that door was closed when it closed on the ark and nobody could get in. He said the angel came and took the key. I don't know what to tell y'all. Well, that circle gonna close up soon, and we ain't gonna know what to tell nobody. Not to say that I might not make it in the circle, but hey, we might be in the circle with a lot of people that we don't think should have made it to the circle. You might not have thought they made it, but you might exit the circle because your thoughts didn't
Okay, come on, sis.
the circle.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
We have to understand even the worst of the worst may be with us when we do transition or go to this next phase and to this next plane. That's why he says for all nations all over the world. He
That's
didn't
right.
say some, because this is for everyone. We all got to come into alignment. He said, man, we must be we must be friendly to mankind as mankind should be friendly to us, or
And to these,
however
yes.
that goes. Like, no matter what, stop trying to separate. Stop trying to take
Islam.
because you are destroying what is really built. We're all one. We're all a reflection of each other. No matter where we live on this planet, no matter which way we come from, we are, because everywhere we went as more as we took ourselves. So it's nowhere where we were not. So when you're even denying your brother or sister that may live in Mexico, that might live over in Morocco, they could live in Russia for all you know, but they're still your brother and sister. They still come from that same lineage. It don't say over here, even in genealogy, that it only came from you.
All masterminds can trace themselves, and thus they know.
Yes, they know. All praises due to Allah, and oh my goodness, honors to our divine and holy prophet,
Yes.
bringing us these lessons and really, you know, putting them out there to where we are able to study them and unfold in them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Truly a pleasure.
yes, Islam sisters. Brother Maurice says Islam sisters' wings are symbolic, being unimpeded in our thoughts.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Islam. People are saying Islam family. Happy Sunday school. That's from Sister Leonette. Happy Sunday school. Sister Leonette lives in Minnesota. This is what I'm saying. You never know from where part everyone's coming from.
That's
Sister
right.
Shonda up in Ohio. Sister Shire, you on another side of the world. This is the great part of being able to bring these things on social media, because in your doing, as the prophet said, take these to the four corners of the earth. Go and teach the people. Teach them about their nationality and their divine
creed.
so they can learn to love instead of hate. So we can stop with all this foolishness we got going on, because it ain't right. I've never seen two preachers argue with each other talking about what the 10 Commandments are. I ain't never seen it. Well, you trying to tell, and that ain't the way that he wrote it on the tablet.
Wow.
You don't hear none of that.
Allah. Stuff Allah.
So we need to stop with all that nonsense. This separation thing, you making the world look at us and laugh at us because they still ain't got it, do they? They still over there arguing over bodies. They're arguing over that really holds no value. When your spirit should be the thing you're saving. Your soul and your spirit should be what you're concentrating on. But our people are more concentrated on the material part.
Islam.
And it's not getting us anywhere. It's still not getting us somewhere, y'all. It's been over 100 years since the prophet's been gone. And you still talking about who took what from who. Well, they took stuff from Jesus too. And they took stuff from people before then too. They took the original Bible. They took the artifacts. They've been taken forever. You're still talking about that? When are we going to talk about our salvation? Because he said, I brought you everything to save yourself. Now save your nation.
Islamism.
We got to save our nation, y'all. We got to stop with the bickering. And that's why I say if you on that, just I love the unfollow, the unfriend, because it's no problem for me. Because I'm only attracting those that are working in unity. I don't care if you're in Puerto Rico, you could be in the depths of the what's that sea over there? The Indian Ocean. I don't care if you're in the Indian Ocean. If you my sister or brother and you showing love to me, I'm showing love back. And I'm not
Islam.
gonna make you feel any less than me because you're not.
That's right.
Islam. So
Islam.
I always want to give that and just know that the Taste of Africa is coming back March 22nd. And we are going to start doing these little small workshops to work us up into March 22nd. And we'll have them online. So everyone, all the Moors can help join together
Inshallah.
to build a better nation. So we can create food security. So we can create all of these things that are for us. This is nothing you
Yes.
have to do that's secretive. Everyone's doing it. If the nation can have hereafter farms, I don't understand what we're doing. And they 10 up on us right now.
Islam.
10. They are 10 properties up on us with land, with people living on them, building businesses. They ain't arguing, talking about, well, you said alhamdulillah wrong and you greeted me wrong and it wasn't right.
Wow.
They building and people are going. People are going and they ain't making it expensive. $500, $1,000 for a plot. They're not making it high. They're not doing no selfish gain stuff. Islam?
People trying to keep up with the Joneses says that's too much materialism in this world already, and we are not them people. We are royalty. We don't have to be concerned with what we need to put on and look lavish. No, we need to work on our inner self,
Islam.
making sure that
Islam.
we working on that inner self. Clean up,
Clean
and you're
up.
gonna clean up the house. If you clean
Clean
up, you're
up.
gonna
You're
clean up
gonna
the
clean up
house.
the house. This is my card, y'all. Like I am a queen of hearts on the playing cards. It's off the chain. So when I seen this shirt, when I first got it, I said, "Oh, this is from Ethiopia. This is actually an Ethiopian designer. This is 100% cotton T-shirt, and he has his own clothing line over there.
Praise
But
Allah.
when you just say clean up, man, the Queen of Hearts, it ain't no yeah, well, you give your heart out, it just get chopped up sometime, but you still gotta stand in
Hmm.
love.
Yes.
So thank you for that. And man, my sisters, I love y'all so much just for
Love
the
you.
build with you guys and get some revelation for myself. So it helps me.
Yes, love you
Inshallah.
too.
It
It was
helps
a
me.
pleasure, Sister Shonda. I
Yes.
know you to love you. I love you very much, sister. Allah
Love.
bless you and your journey. And let's just keep this going.
Let's keep going.
Yes,
Okay.
I enjoyed you.
I gotta record this. So if y'all can just hold tight for me while I close the meeting out. All meetings are
Okay.
to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I want to read some words from the prophet before we say our prayer. Just a few words from the prophet. Islam, the Moorish Science Temple of America, to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds, that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near. So says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. And they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but you will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. He says temples, so he got an S at the end, ain't no singular. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace. Your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. So can we stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We're going to turn to the east, is going within. We put up 5 fingers on the left with 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another, standing on our square. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam. Islam, family. Okay, give me just a few minutes to get y'all backstage, and we will finish this